So hello and welcome everybody to this special edition of the Pacific Basin Economic Council Virtual Roundtable Dialogue Series, which has been running throughout the year online, engaging stakeholders, government officials and academics on a whole host of topics and issues. Today we'll be focusing our attention on the all-important insurance industry in Hong Kong and also looking regionally. My name is Michael Walsh and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of PBEC, which is a non-for-profit think tank institution representing the voice of business across Asia and the Pacific. We act as a platform for connecting business leaders with policymakers, regulators, other NGOs and academics to share and learn best practices and provide market insights for its members, who typically consist of chairmen, CEOs, founders and entrepreneurs from across APAC. PBEC, since its establishment in 1967, has always advocated for sustainable economic development that is inclusive and environmentally friendly, something that has come to the fore once again during this COVID pandemic period. I'm therefore delighted to be joined by two distinguished leaders from Hong Kong who will be sharing their expertise and thoughts on what has been an unprecedented year for everyone. We will be hearing from the leading life insurance group in Asia in AIA and the regulator, the Insurance Authority of Hong Kong. And we'll be taking a look back at 2020, a year like no other, followed by a brief discussion on the China market, some of the new opportunities and challenges ahead, also discussing the movement towards a greener insurance offering, a more sustainable future. How can Hong Kong remain competitive, and giving some advice to the next generation coming through who are seeking that lifelong learning opportunities, and why should they consider the insurance sector? So let me introduce you to them both now. So starting with Dr. Moses Cheng, Chairman of the Hong Kong Insurance Authority. Dr. Cheng is a consultant for a law firm, PC Wu, in Hong Kong, after being its senior partner for over 20 years. His areas of practice straddle capital markets, corporate governance, regulatory and compliance. He has been actively contributing to the community and is currently a member of the Financial Leaders Forum and a fellow of the Hong Kong Academy of Finance. Notably, past appointments include Chairman of the Education Commission, Government-appointed Director on the Board of Hong Kong Exchanges and Clearing Limited, Founding Vice Chairman of the Estate Agents Authority, and appointed member of the Legislative Council. And of course, he's a great supporter and board member of APEC and PBEC. And now we come to Peter Crewe, CEO of AIA Hong Kong and Macau. Peter has now been with AIA for 26 years. In that time, he served in various regional and country leadership roles, including as General Manager of Brunei, President Director of Indonesia, and CEO of Australia. Today, he's the CEO of AIA Hong Kong and Macau, and recently announced his retirement, but taking up a senior advisory role in AIA Group from January 2021. Peter worked hard to apply himself throughout his insurance career and has enjoyed many of the opportunities and leadership roles AIA has asked of him. The AIA Group was established in 1919 and had started its operations in Hong Kong in 1931. Over the years, AIA Hong Kong and Macau has led the industry with its future vision, offering customer-centric and comprehensive protection and financial solutions, and meeting their needs and aspirations at different life stages. The company's website states its steadfast belief in creating shared value for different stakeholders as well as society. AIA is committed to playing a key role in driving the economy and social development of Hong Kong and the Asia-Pacific region by helping people live healthier, longer, and better lives. So I'd like to start by asking both of you, could you both give us a brief snapshot of 2020 from your own perspective, and in particular the key events within the insurance sector during the year? And that, why don't we ask Dr. Moses Cheng to kick us off? Thank you so much.
Right. Everybody, and it's really a great pleasure for me to join this roundtable. 2020, as you just said, is a very, very challenging year. I mean, the fact that you seeing me joining this roundtable not from the office of the Insurance Authority nor my law office, but from the study of my home, tells a lot about what we've been going through this year. I think I've been working from home a lot of these days, and because of my senior age, and people said that I'm most vulnerable, and therefore I should stay home as much as possible, and that's what I'm doing. And besides that, I think we can actually see that the economy, as well as the livelihood of people in Hong Kong, are greatly disrupted. And it's very worrying to see that now we're in the fourth wave of the pandemic, and one getting worse than the previous one. And we can actually see that the virus is spreading very, very quickly, and is disturbing how people live and how people work. And at the moment, the Insurance Authority, majority of our staff are operating from home. And that's the reason why, even if I'm willing to travel to participate at this roundtable from the office of the Insurance Authority, there would not be anyone there to accept the skeleton staff, and most probably opening the doors and locking up afterwards. So I think that's what it is. And the economy, I think people would definitely know that the economy is really, really suffering. A lot of businesses are really. I don't envy them, having been the senior part of the firm, and in those days, it's bad enough that to look at the cash flow, to look at how people work and perform and so on, is already a challenge. But just imagine this year, I mean, business has grind to a stop. And most of the business establishments in Hong Kong are SMEs, and they are really hit because a lot of people are really living on the cash flow of receiving cash, and then at the end of the month pay out all their expenses. And these are the people who are really hard hit, and because of the closing of the Hong Kong. To visitors who are not Hong Kong residents, I think the tourism business really hard hit, and so are the retails and the food and beverage businesses, and and that will lead to a lot of unemployment problem and people's livelihood being affected. Now, as far as the insurance industry goes, I think I'll leave it to Peter to explain to you what sort of challenge that we're facing, and then I would then follow up later on and to tell you how the Insurance Authority, when we were set up, we committed to the industry to say that we are in it together with them, and besides being the prudential regulator, the statute, the ordinance requires to balance our responsibility with the responsibility of helping to promote the sustainable development of the industry, and that's what we've been working. What we've been committed to do. So, Peter, over to you, and please explain share your experience as to the difficulty and the challenges that you sort of face as an insurer.
Thank you, Moses, and thank you, Mike. And I say it's a real pleasure to be on this round table, particularly with Moses, who I think has done a terrific job to champion our industry. The Hong Kong insurance sector has responded rapidly and effectively to COVID-19 pandemic, and I believe that AIA has seized the opportunity to accelerate the use of technology, moving more of our processes online, providing uninterrupted support for our customers and distributors, but always ensuring the safety of our employees. There are naturally fewer face-to-face customer engagement opportunities due to this pandemic, yet our customers' need for comprehensive protection during this time is more imminent than ever. I believe the Insurance Authority has responded to the market needs proactively and enabled AIA and other insurers to implement remote insurance purchases via the Insurance Sandbox, which has subsequently launched in July of this year. We will continue to leverage what we believe are leading edge in digital technology to proactively respond to the ever-changing market landscape, supporting customers in realizing their long-term protection and wealth accumulation goals. And as our purpose is helping them lead healthier, longer, and better lives. But with the implementation of the border control measures, the number of mainland Chinese visitors to Hong Kong declined sharply. And that really made insurers focus on shifting towards the local domestic market. The insurance industry has also been proactive in supporting customers during this time. My company is committed to serving the society and having launched numerous initiatives throughout the year, including offering free COVID-19 cover to Hong Kong citizens and customers, as well as providing enhanced protection in respect of claim support measures for all of our policyholders. And this is where I get the chance to promote AIA and our brands, but it's also given us the opportunity to launch several first-in-market initiatives in 2020, including Hong Kong's first hospital-supported telemedicine service, robotic investment choice service for our unit-linked insurance products, and the first Hong Kong severity-based cancer protection product.
Obviously, the insurance industry, sometimes, people's perceptions are one thing, but actually in reality, there's so many things, as you just mentioned, Peter, that you're actually doing, which maybe people are unaware. And insurance, in some ways, is an underpinning industry in the region, and certainly in Hong Kong, which has been a great success story. Even through this COVID crisis, I think it's important to highlight companies like yourselves at AIA, the success you've had, both in dealing with the pandemic and offering the customers what they need and the support, and obviously embracing the digital part of it as well. But I want to come back to the regulator now a little bit on what efforts are the Insurance Authority making in collaboration with other regional bodies for the sort of consistency and fair rules-based system that people crave in most industries. I mean, that's a theme throughout APEC since my dealings in the last 18 months. Everybody's asking for the fair rules-based system and consistency cross-border. But Moses, could you sort of elaborate a little bit about, since the Insurance Authority was established a few years ago now, what measures are you taking to sort of have that fairness coming through?
Mike, before I go on to that one, I was given these figures, which is the figures for the first 3 quarters of 2020, and that would go a long way to illustrate to you the difficulty and the that the insurance industry is facing. Now, I think for the figures of the first 3 quarters of 2020. New premiums for life business, it was 98.7 billion Hong Kong dollar, and year on year it is on change is year on year change is a decrease of 29.4%, which is a very substantial drop. And let me tell you, the new premiums from mainland visitors even is a number of 6.5 billion Hong Kong dollar, and it is a decrease of 81.9%. You can actually see that. I mean, how can any industry be able to sort of stand up to all this sort of drop in the volume of potential business? And so I think, as Peter said earlier on, our temporary facilitative measures does help a bit, but on the other hand, I think it really is a very, very difficult year for the industry, and I think that everybody is chipping in their bit to help consumer and try to make the insurance industry as the shock absorber and the stabilizer in terms of this sort of very sort of challenging time. Now, talking about working together with fellow regulators, I think a few years back, we have started the Asia Forum of Insurance Regulators. And right now, Hong Kong Insurance Authority, the chief executive, is the chairman of this group, which is a platform that Asian regulators would meet together and share experiences and would discuss about how international standards are being sort of applied in Hong Kong, and what sort of challenges, what sort of difficulties that we're facing. Because I think regional conditions are quite different from, let's say, American or even European conditions. And so what the Insurance Authority is trying to do together with Asian regulators, try to reflect the Asian condition, the Asian challenges and issues onto the international regulatory body, which is the IAIS. Everybody would know that that's the international body which sets the common standards for the insurance industry of the world. And our CEO is now participating as a member of the executive committee of IAIS, and that is a very good channel for us to reflect the Asian regulators' view, as well as how we are going to apply international standard in our region. And hopefully we can really play that role well. And then it appears to me that we're doing that, and because we are our senior management are participating in various other professional committees of IAIS, so that from different aspects we will be able to reflect the Asian situation, and we would chip in what we feel would be a good way forward, a good practice for everybody to consider, and that will be able to help the growth of the insurance industry in the forthcoming year. Now, besides that, I think we collaborate and work very well in terms of sharing our information and sharing of ideas and supporting each other's in following up on cases and so on, and especially in the prudential regulation of the industry, we need support and we need help. And one very important development is that now Hong Kong has now got the legislation to do group-wide supervision of insurance group, which have their headquarters in Hong Kong. Now, I think that again is a collaborative effort of trying to work together in groups, what they call college, the supervisory college. And in the college, what they will do is to try to ensure that different standard and different difference in practices would be shared, would be discussed, and hopefully we'll be able to share experiences, and we'll be able to regulate the industry as such that it would provide and offer the best protection for the consumer. Now, that's what we're doing right now. Of course, it's an ongoing process, and I'm sure that the more we work together, the more that we share experience together, I think the better it would be for the industry, and especially in terms of its sustainable growth and development.
Thank you, Moses. And obviously, it's important to set the standards, as it were. I mean, a rules-based system is always essential for setting the rules of the game, as it were, for those entering the industry for the first time, and also guiding those who have been in it for a long time in order to make the necessary changes to continue to be compliant. So let's turn the conversation now a little bit onto sustainability and in particular job creation, which is going to be so key to the COVID recovery period in majority of countries in the world. So what are the government and the private sector doing, I guess, despite all the challenges that have been here in 2020 that we've just touched upon, in promoting what I guess people are starting to call green insurance? Maybe Peter, do you want to start by just talking a little bit about AIA's direction in that? When has it already been? Well, it's already started, but how far back did you start to think that this was necessary from a customer point of view?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. The Green Insurance Working Group was formed under the umbrella of the Hong Kong Green Finance Association to create an ecosystem within the insurance industry that focused on creating and supporting green, sustainable economy and is compliant to environmental, social and governance reporting, so ESG. And these are requirements along with following the Sustainable Development Goals. So AIA is a member of that working group and will continue to collaborate with the Hong Kong Insurance Authority to develop green insurance principles and a guideline to spur the development of green insurance in Hong Kong.
And Moses, is that something you're passionate about yourself as chairman? You like to see this expanding?
Absolutely. I think sustainability is one aspect which everybody is concerned about. I think listed company have already got the requirement of doing the necessary disclosure, and that's going to be subject to audit starting from I think January 2022, I believe. And but as for insurance company, insurance is a very important industry in the financial market, and we feel that we have the same responsibility vis-a-vis sustainability of the planet Earth. And of course, we as usual, the Hong Kong Insurance Authority believe very much in sustainable development, as well as the ability to provide the best services to the consumer. I think that there must be a fair balance in the two, and there are bound to be how would I say, challenges and conflicts between the two notions, and that's something which as a regulator, as a prudential regulator, we should be there to try to ensure that this balance is maintained. And but I believe that most of the insurers that we are regulating in Hong Kong are very, very conscious of their responsibility as a good corporate citizen, as the forerunner, in setting a good example for the small and medium-sized fellows insurers in the market. And so I think I believe that it's a collaborative effort that would enable us to take this further and make it meaningful and make it workable for the insurance industry. And that's what insurance authorities always believe in. And I think we would encourage insurers to look at the way that they do business. And I am sure that everyone would appreciate the volume of paper that's being used in the industry. But I think great effort has been put in by the various insurers, now including the insurance authority, in reducing the volume of paper. Now, the business that they are underwriting, I think they can always apply their influence, their requirement for the insured, the people that they insure, that they would that they would examine the way that they do business, so that unsustainable or procedure that would affect sustainability or the environment, being environment friendly to would have to be taken into consideration. And thirdly, I think in terms of long-term businesses, and in terms of their investment, again, that they would be able to assess the impact on the environment vis-a-vis the investment that they are investing in. Now, these are things that we're looking at, and I'm sure that under the leadership of the Hong Kong Monetary Authority and the SFC, we have formed a working group within the regulators to promote and on this particular aspect. And we're looking forward. They're coming out with guidelines. They're coming out with their statements vis-a-vis green financing and so on. And so I think that's something which is happening, and which is happening healthily in this part of the world. Yeah.
Peter, obviously Moses touched upon there about reducing paper in the workplace and use of more new technologies, which we're talking about in a second. But before I do, I wanted to maybe pull on your own experiences. You're coming to the end of your tenure as CEO, but moving into an advisory role. But obviously AIA is giving you many opportunities throughout your career. And I know we were going to talk maybe a bit later, but under the job creation, in some ways insurance hasn't stepped in, especially AIA and others in Hong Kong, where my background in aviation has suffered hugely this year. And there's been a number of redundancies, unfortunately, due to the direct impact, that they've been picked up into insurance sales roles or business development roles in the last sort of 6 to 9 months. Could you touch a little bit upon that? Because obviously you're seeing a demand, if you like, to hire staff, right?
Yeah. So I've been in the insurance industry for 32 years, and within that 32 years, you've had many kind of economic ups and downs, and typically for us, when you're in a kind of economic down cycle, it's actually not as bad as some other industries. We very much manage the business over the long term, because we're providing essentially long-term protection. And when we're going to go into a down cycle, there's a natural inclination from customers or prospective customers to look at protection. So that does provide an opportunity. It's also historically provided an employment opportunity as well. As people do suffer from redundancy or retrenchment, have career changes, that does present a actually terrific recruitment opportunity for us. And we have seen that particularly in 2020. As you say, from the aviation industry, and particularly the layoffs from our biggest carrier in Hong Kong, that kind of stimulates a lot of conversations with people looking for opportunities, and many have joined us as a career change, as a tied intermediary representing AIA Hong Kong, which I think is terrific, because they've had fantastic training. They understand how to deal with customers. The learning curve for them is how to act ethically as a financial planner, make sure that they do needs-based selling, and frankly these days, technology is really kind of accelerating that process, because we can deliver all of our training digitally. All of our financial planners use an iPad, so they can do the financial health check, the sales illustration, the application process, completely digitally. They can do it non-face-to-face as well, and we can do straight-through processing. So if it's a smaller protection type product without without medical underwriting, we can pretty much instantaneously issue the policy document. So I think the tools are there for people looking for career changes, and I'd say that, this year we've just gone over the 20,000 licensed intermediaries for representing AIA, which is the highest number that we've ever had historically.
And just touching on that technology part, Moses, smart contracts, electronic signatures, has that been one of the challenges to get the regulators on board? Maybe not in Hong Kong, but in other regions where typically it's been, physical paper, company chop, actual signatures requirements. Is that changing the whole face of transactions?
I think the e-portal for intermediaries licensing is working now, I think, efficiently and effectively with the support from the industry. And I think close to 80% of the application that we receive now are on the e-portal, and that goes a long way to say about the people changing from when we start to take over. I think only a few applications would come in the e-portal, and because people are very used to and accustomed to filling in form on paper. And but I think that's quickly changed with the help of the major insurers like AIA, and that is really changing. Now, I think talking about job opportunities, I think if I may jump in and add more point, besides joining the sales force, which is the frontline and intermediaries, I think there are plenty of job opportunities in the mid-house and the back house of the insurance company. And besides the life industry, there is a general insurance industry. We seeking to promote the expansion of the general market in Hong Kong. We're seeking to promote more company using Hong Kong as the domicile for their captive setup, and we are trying to attract reinsurers to come and base in Hong Kong, and with the fact that they can enjoy preferential treatment of business being seeded from mainland China. Now these are real opportunities there. Now besides, I think I can also add on in sharing with you is that my HR people are telling me that with the help of the Hong Kong government, we are taking in more management trainees. I mean, there's a freeze of headcount in any other division, but we're bringing in more management trainees, offering new graduates and people who are willing to come in and make a switch in career, to learn more about the opportunities available, job opportunity and career opportunities in the insurance industry. Now, I think that all in all is the industry is offering good opportunities for people who are switching career, as well as who are entering into the career. And so I think people, even people from the region who are watching this program, well, welcome to consider Hong Kong. I mean, as a place for you to develop your career in the insurance industry. Now, then I'll switch on to another topic that you were talking about, technology and so on. I think the insurance that the COVID-19 really provided the opportunities of promoting the use of technology. Now, we're not so much worried about electronic signatures and so on. I mean, those are things that I'm sure they are ready solutions. Now, what we are trying to ensure in the utilization of online or digital onboarding process is the cybersecurity of the system. And the big corporation like AIA would have no problem. They have very good technical team, but we want to be shown, and we want to ensure that the cybersecurity of the system is there. So much so that that the policyholders or the consumers are well looked after and protected. Now, but for the small and medium-sized insurers, the Federation of Insurance has now established a platform through which smaller insurers can participate, and using that platform, that technical platform, without having to go through the technical process of accrediting the system. Yep. But by going on to the HAFI platform. Now, it's just come into operation. I would like to see, and I would like to hear from people as to their experience of using this new platform. Now, all in all, you can actually see that the insurance authority and the industry are working together to enable the wider and better utilization of technology. And the fact that we have provided a fast-track licensing program for digital insurers, and within the very, very short period of 2 years, we have issued 4 licenses already, and they are doing quite well in their own way of doing business and reaching to a new market, which is which are really the young and tech-savvy consumer, which will be much happier and ready to participate on through these online service providers.
So Peter, I mean, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't raise the opportunity that China presents in its mainland market. And as Moses just touched upon, obviously there are so many opportunities in general insurance, not just life insurance, for young people to consider. Obviously, a precursor to that, I would say, being a Westerner, but here for 15 years myself, you know, learning Chinese is very important in order to engage with the consumer in mainland China. But as it continues to open up, I mean, we could talk about the technology part. I mean, China's been very adoptive of all the technologies in just a very short space of time the last few years. But I want to talk a little bit about the Greater Bay Area because it's right on Hong Kong's doorstep and creating these new opportunities. But do you have any concerns, I guess, in that movement? Obviously, AIA earlier this year got its wholly owned foreign entities license awarded. Great opportunity now for AIA to spread its wings, excuse the pun, in China. But is Hong Kong ready to grasp the opportunity, do you think, Peter?
Well, I think, you know, we're super excited about this opportunity. We're a company with a Chinese heritage, having been founded in Shanghai in 1919. Hong Kong is our home. We're headquartered here. We're listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. So the opening up of the Greater Bay Area to become a true economic zone is a fantastic opportunity for our franchise. Geographically, that area has a population of 72 million, a GDP of heading towards $2 trillion US. It presents growth opportunities for both of our businesses, that being AIA China and AIA Hong Kong, and our franchise in AIA Macau as well. And Hong Kong and the mainland Chinese authorities are working together on the Insurance Connect, which is the next major step for us, the financial integration of GBA, which will allow Hong Kong insurance companies like ourselves to set up a one-stop cross-border insurance service center in the Greater Bay Area. So Insurance Connect would mark, in my opinion, a breakthrough in financial connectivity and make it much easier for the holders of policies issued in Hong Kong to acquire comprehensive customer support whilst they're in GBA. Now, at the moment, we don't have that many details to share at the current stage, but we will continue to work closely as an industry with CBRC and the Insurance Authority of Hong Kong on the detailed implementation of this going forward. I think, as pointed out by Moses, Chief Executive of the IA, Clement Chung, in July, IA sustained impetus on the proposal of setting up post-sales service centres in GBA, and the practical importance of these centres is clearly demonstrated, I think, by the outbreak of COVID-19.
No, it's really interesting. And Moses, do you want to add anything around the broader government policy here on Hong Kong's role, if you like, in developing the Greater Bay Area national plan?
Well, I think, as I can see, and the support from the mainland, the central government is, as well as the Hong Kong SAR government, are there. There's no question about that. And the policy address of the chief executive this year, it's announced that the service center is part and parcel of the CEPA's arrangement. I think what need to be ironed out is the details. I think the policy is there. I think it's confirmed that Hong Kong insurers would be able to establish post-sale service center in the Greater Bay Area. I think that would facilitate Hong Kong people working in the Greater Bay Area the convenience of the service center. And besides, there are the visitors who have visited Hong Kong in the past and purchased an insurance policy. They need to service the subsequent years' contribution of premium and so on and so forth, and they need advices. They need a seek for advice and so on. These can be really well taken care of by the service center. Now, there's no question about the policy is there. What we need now is to iron out the details within, hopefully within the next few months, and then we can see the first service center being established there. And I think the Greater Bay Area is really the potential market for expansion for the Hong Kong insurance industry. Now, basically, I don't personally see that as fierce competition between Hong Kong insurers and mainland insurers, and that's most probably a misconception. I think the products and the services that Hong Kong insurers can offer are not sort of readily offered or are not being offered by mainland insurers. And because of the tradition, because of the stages of development of the industry, and I think Hong Kong insurance products are really attractive to not just to Hong Kong people, but for visitors coming into Hong Kong. I mean, anyone, not just mainlander, but anyone who is visiting Hong Kong would are welcome to enter into contract of insurance with insurers, and they will be subject to the same prudential regulation as any local policyholders. We protect policyholders irrespective of where they come from, and as long as the contract is being entered into in Hong Kong, that is subject to the Hong Kong's prudential regulation, and that's something. And as far as the allowance of international participant in the financial market, I think that is again is an established policy of the central government, and there's no question about that. But I think again, the policy is there. It takes time to work out the details and to get through the approval process. I think that's what That's why, it's not, Hong Kong is relatively small as compared to the big market of the mainland. So I think whilst we at the Insurance Authority are trying to be as supportive as possible to the applicants for insurance licenses in Hong Kong, but again, I think I can share with you that it's not just as simple as going to the Transport Authority to get your driving license renew or apply for a new license. It's a process that we need to go through in approving the license. And even if it is additional classes of business in existing license holder, it's take a due process. We have to go through the due process in order to give the necessary protection ultimately to the consumer.
Yeah, and so, I mean, with that said, I mean, obviously you've been touching quite a lot of what is in the pipeline, if you like, to come, ironing out the detail of policies that are already there. But Peter, I would like to come back to the fact that, during this unprecedented period in all of our lifetimes, the last sort of 9 months, there are kind of slogans. A common slogan we hear is "Build Back Better," by a number of industries and governments, sort of saying, what we're learning, what we'd like to see change. Things have been accelerated by COVID. If there was one thing that you've sort of come across, if you like, during this last 9 months, you could put your finger on that, has been as a direct consequence of this particular period, what was it? And do you think it will then be retained going forward?
That's a great question. I think the spread of COVID has led many to reflect on their health and well-being. A global wellness trend is emerging from the epidemic in terms of personal health and employee benefits in the workplace. Our company is committed to creating a movement in Hong Kong and across all of our operations in Asia Pacific to enable people to live healthier, longer and better lives. For our employees and customers, we continue to enhance and promote AIA Vitality, which we think is a game-changing wellness program that allows us to have a degree of interaction with our customers that's never been seen before in the insurance industry. This is part of our payer to partner strategy, which transforms the traditionally reactive role of an insurer into proactively engaging with customers' lives. We encourage them to stay healthy, and we reward them for their efforts, which in due course translates into smaller claims amounts, as well as an enticer for customer loyalty and goodwill. Essentially, we think integrating health and wellness as an ecosystem that can provide personalized care and services to customers will ultimately bring shared value as a win-win to both consumers and insurance companies like ourselves. Through our sponsorship and events like AIA Vitality Park and the Observation Wheel in AIA Central, our corporate alliance with Disney, the Oxfam Trail Walker, our football initiatives with Tottenham Hotspur in the UK and the Hong Kong Football Club. It's really all designed to look at health and wellness activity and bring a positive energy into the local community.
No, it's fantastic, some of the initiatives that you had. And I when you talk about vitality, I just always think of your advert on Sky News, which is always running when I'm watching the UK, keeping up with my UK news. And in some ways, Moses, during this period, employers have had to really step up in some ways. I mean, obviously, we've mentioned the SMEs, which are probably the worst hit and suffering still during this pandemic until sort of the vaccines come out. But I think there's been this sort of acknowledgement that employers have to play a key role in the health of their own employees. And in some ways, this, Hong Kong in particular has been known for having to provide insurance, even a basic insurance as kind of like a social net in some ways. And I think that's important. Do you see that happening more and more regionally as well, Moses, when you're talking to other regulators in sort of Southeast Asia? These developing countries are starting to also change their sort of methodologies.
No, I feel that the COVID-19 pandemic certainly is something which is unprecedented and never would have never been imagined by people before its arrival. Okay, but on the other hand, I think as the famous Chinese saying goes, in every challenge we do find opportunities, and I believe that if we can really look deeper into the lesson that we learned from this Black Swan event, I think we would definitely be able to discover the opportunities there. As Peter pointed out, COVID-19 has increased the awareness of people on their health protection and the need for health protection and so on. I think I can definitely see that the trend of employer providing better health protection for their by taking out insurance policy for their employees in Hong Kong, and that in more developed communities, I think that is we can actually see that trend coming. And I'm sure that at the aftermath of COVID-19, I think when potential employees look for jobs and opportunity and so on, I think in besides considering the issues of the pay, I think availability of insurance, health and insurance policy, medical insurance policy would be quite prevalent on people's mind. I think that certainly I can see as one of the sort of post COVID-19 development. COVID-19 again also, as we pointed out earlier, is speeding up people's appreciation of utilization of technology in the different aspects. Now, besides the digital onboarding process, which we're now trying to look into further to see how the technology, how the rules and regulation has to be sort of reviewed and revised to accommodate for better use of digital onboarding. Now, I think a lot of technology has been introduced into the different process in how to say handling of claims, the management of claims, and in a lot of processes that the technology can help. For example, the KYC, the digital KYC process, and how is that going to be affecting the industry? I think COVID-19 has definitely, how do I say, promoted people's thinking and the need for technological input in the potential regulation process. Now, besides, I think people's willingness to learn more about how insurance can better protect themselves and how insurance will be able to help them to manage the risks, the different risks that they're facing. People are much more aware of that and much more willing to learn about that. I can certainly see that the people who are logging on to our website as well as our social media have definitely increased in the course of the last few months, and that we can certainly see that people would be interested to learn more about how insurance can help them manage the risk in their life. Now that would most probably be the positive side of COVID-19 rather than besides being disruption to our trade and businesses as well as to our lives.
Well, thank you, Moses. And look, we're coming already nearly to the end of our session here, and it's been fantastic talking to you both about Hong Kong's insurance landscape. But before we go, I think we should finish where engaging the youth is so important to all of us at PBEC and at the Insurance Authority, and also AIA's efforts as well with its latest recruitment drive. So can we sort of ask you both, if you like, if you were, and especially Peter now, coming into this special advisory role to the group, what would you give young people in terms of how to attract them into the industry? Because obviously there's competing industries. You've touched upon aviation, where there was an opportunity of people coming out of that. But going back to sort of the graduate level, when there's the pick of talent and they're looking at industries, what should excite them and what excites you both about the role the sector can play in Greater China society going forward? Maybe start with you, Peter. How would you attract, or what would you say to the youngster considering a career? As you say, you limped into insurance from a sporting injury, if I recall.
I did, and many of my colleagues of my era didn't really choose insurance as their first choice for a career. Because I think historically we've kind of underserved ourselves, underpositioned ourselves, and I think that's changing. Insurance is an essential and increasingly diverse industry that affects businesses and individuals. A career in the right insurance company can provide opportunity to young talents to make a difference, learn and develop a broad skill set that adapts to increasingly changing trends and market landscapes.
And Peter, could I just ask as well, just because I forgot to ask at the beginning of the question, and you touched upon diversity. Have you got any sort of figures on how many females are now coming into the industry and getting leadership roles within the industry?
I don't have the exact numbers, but I can tell you, in AIA Hong Kong, over 50% of our management positions are led by females. My exco, my direct senior team, 60% is female. So I think we have that gender diversity now coming through our industry. And as you know, Mike, diversity is really impactful and advantageous to all organisations. It really does. So I'm confident in the future, as I look across AIA Group, that we'll have many more female CEOs running our country operations in the not too distant future.
And Moses, likewise, you touched upon, obviously, you're one of the few government agencies right now bringing in management trainee programs during this difficult period. How did you attract them? I mean, what is the process for that in terms of who do you go to? Do you work with universities in Hong Kong?
We are one of the regulatory authorities joining the government's support program of increasing job opportunities, and that's why in the midst of our headcount freeze, we are increasing the number of management trainees this year, taking in management trainees so that they will be given job opportunities. They will be introduced into the job opportunities. So our fellow regulators, and so I think this is what the financial market is contributing towards the Hong Kong community vis-a-vis providing job opportunities for young people. Now, as to how we're going about to, we use all channels. We use our social media to reach out to the younger generation. we go to schools, we go to university to explain. I think one of the things that we do that not usually done by other people is that we talk to parents. We go to parents groups to explain to parents, because I think parents' influence on choice of career is very, very high. I must say that it's surprisingly high, because in my days, my parents don't really have that much input. But today, I think on the few occasion, some of the younger generation would call, some of the young people would call me and said that, Chairman, I want to join the insurance industry, but my parents said that my grades are so good that I don't need to go into to being a salesman. I said that's the wrong concept, and let me talk to your parents. And of course, I wouldn't be able to do that, but I go to talk to various parents group, and that's effective. And I hope that through this program, I can also interest younger generation from our neighboring country to come and join us, and also the Greater Bay Areas offer good opportunities. Now, right now, if you come to Hong Kong and work and gather the experience, as you said, that and some sort of advantage of learning the Chinese language and so on, and that would enhance your employability vis-a-vis in the Greater Bay Area. I think that is a very exciting period for younger generation. Now, besides, I think I also involved myself in the management of a private university, and we do offer an undergraduate course as well as a postgraduate course on insurance and actuarial studies, and these are very interesting area of study. So besides the very popular professional degrees and so on, I think insurance is also a very professional degree. And so please, younger members of the younger generation, if you're watching this program, please consider. And even if you are in the management of other industry, if you really are interested, you can actually take up a postgraduate course degree, which is offer full-time as well as part-time basis. Then you can definitely equip yourself for an entry into the management of insurance businesses, and that would be a very good opportunity for good career development.
If I may just pick up a thread from Moses, which and this is from my own corporate experience with employees. I do a lot of coaching through our leadership and development programs, and sometimes I get a little bit frustrated with our younger Hong Kong colleagues, because I talk about careers and I talk about taking some risk, and sometimes there's a reluctance of taking risk to get out of a comfort zone, to look at opportunities away from a set path that they've taken, particularly in respect of working overseas. Now, and I talk from a basis of experience, because my career accelerated because I took the opportunity to work overseas. And I think it's a test of character, it's a test of resilience, it's a test of adaptability. So I really feel that the Greater Bay Area presents a terrific opportunity for our young generation in Hong Kong to be able to work away from their home base, not too far, but to be able to work in a different environment that will present many different opportunities for them. So I think talking to that generation and getting them to think about taking a little bit of risk, I think it is an important element.
No, I would totally agree, Peter. I mean, I think I had a similar path to yourself. I had the opportunity to go overseas from what was perceived, I guess, a comfort zone in the first few years of my career in the UK, and I was able to go and be in many different parts of the world and end up in Hong Kong. No regrets, I have to say. Hong Kong has now been my home for the last 15 years. And as you say, looking around, there is new opportunities and hope. You know, I think people at this time are looking for that hope. And I do think you just need to, you know, be a little bit patient, you know, keep safe for the next few months, and things will start to turn and get better quite quickly. And I think in Hong Kong, we're in the right place, definitely, for that to happen quicker than others. So we're lucky in that respect that we're, you know, part of a financial city, the leading financial city in the Asia region. And as you say, we're right on the doorstep of soon to be, if not already, the #1 economy in the world. So lots of positives to take from today. And I just want to thank you both for your time, for joining this special edition on the insurance industry for the Pacific Basin Economic Council. And I hope you out there who are listening enjoyed and were able to take some takeaways from both these leaders. And so with that, I just want to say once again, thank you to Dr. Moses Cheng, the Chairman of the Insurance Authority of Hong Kong, and to the CEO of AIA Hong Kong and Macau, Peter Crewe. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Moses.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Peter.